Hello Fight fans and welcome back to CornerSports. I'm Albert Ausner, and if you haven't yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can see all my content when I put it out. But without further ado, let's talk about some UFC 217. Oh my god, am I excited. We're gonna start off by talking about the prelims and then get into the main card. And the first prelim fight is Mickey Gall versus Randy Brown, and boy am I excited about this one. Mickey Gall, who has picked up 3 straight wins in the UFC, all by finish, by submission, 2 in the first round, 1 in the second round, will be taking on a 9-2 Randy Brown. Randy Brown, who lost his last fight to Belal Muhammad in a unanimous decision, but previous to that had won 2 by stoppage, will look back to get on the winning ways against Mickey Gall, but I think it'll be a tough test for him. I think Mickey Gall has way too many weapons for him. This fight will be interesting, but I think Mickey Gall picks up another stoppage win against Randy Brown, and if there's anything I know about Randy Brown is he can take some damage, but a submission is always likely to come from Mickey Gall, and I expect him to get a second round finish via choke. Ovince Preux, who once again is stepping in to fight on late notice, and it seems like every fight this guy gets into is on late notice. He's fighting Corey Anderson, and this one has some potentially huge stipulations considering this is a number 6 and a number 7 guy fighting one another, but I'm expecting some fireworks from this one. A knockout is certainly coming. Both of these guys have lost to Jimmy Manuwa, but Ovince is in a 2-fight win streak, whereas Corey Anderson dropped his last fight. Ovince, who's 34 years old, and if he wants anything out of this division, this is a fight he needs to win, get a top 5 fight, win that one, and then we can be talking about a belt. But for Corey, who's only 28, barely stepping into his prime, this is a fight that he can afford to lose, although of course you don't want to lose any fights. And for me personally, I don't think Corey Anderson is that good of a fighter. I think his rankings are way above what he actually is. When you look at some of the guys he has fought, he doesn't have many notable wins, and when he's fought some big names like Jimmy Manuwa, he got knocked out. He also lost to Mauricio Shogun Rua, so I'm not big on Corey Anderson, but Ovince is my guy, stepping in late. I think he gets it done, takes Corey down, and submits him. I know that's a lot to say considering Corey is a wrestler and he is a good one, but I think if anyone is going to submit Corey, it's Ovince because of his style, and he's got some nasty chokes. This fight I had reviewed for UFC 216, Walt versus Godbeer, and I don't want to get into details of it again. If you want to watch that video, go ahead and click that I button. At the time, I didn't know that Walt was going to step in and fight Verdum. So my prediction then was Walt was going to win, and my prediction now is Walt is still going to win by knockout. Godbeer is great, and I love his last name, but that's about the only thing I love about him. And the prelims main event is James Vick versus Joe Duffy. And James Vick, who's a very underrated fighter in the UFC, especially in this 155-pound division. He has 7 wins in the UFC, only 1 loss. He got knocked out by Dariush, and he just didn't look himself. Since then, he's picked up 2 wins, and he's coming up against Joe Duffy, who is another straight killer. And both of these fighters will look to get ranked after this fight, but I think James Vick is a better fighter than Joe Duffy, and I know some of you may disagree with me. James Vick is only 30 years old. I know he's a fast starter, and he'll be looking to knock out Joe Duffy early in this one, and I think he does exactly that. Picks up a first-round knockout, and he will be looking to get into that top 15 fight, maybe get a top 10 fight, who knows, but this will be a great scrap. Don't miss it because it's going to end quick. Finally, let's get into the main card and what I really want to talk about when it comes to UFC 217. And the first fight on the main card is Johnny Hendricks taking on Paulo Costa. Paulo Costa, who's coming into this fight having knocked out 2 of his previous opponents. He's 2-0 in the UFC, and Big Rigg, man, how the mighty have fallen, eh? I'm filming this video before the weigh-in, so I don't know if Big Rigg has made weight, but it's 185. I'm really hoping he does make weight. God knows this guy will never make 170 in his life again. So 185, please make weight. Please, Johnny, please make weight, please. When you look at Johnny's last 5 fights, he's only picked up 1 win and he's lost the other 4. And I mean, when you look at this guy before that, he was killing dudes. He had a punching power. He's a great wrestler, but something... this guy could just never figure out his dieting, and some guys don't. And Paulo Costa, who's a young prospect from Brazil, and God knows Brazilians need more fighters, especially young ones, because you still got guys like Machida headlining cards, you know? So if this guy can pick up a win, quite like Darren Till did against Cowboy, against the guy who has a name in Johnny Hendricks, which I think Paulo Costa will, he will knock him. He's just like, if you see these two standing next to each other, Paulo Costa is so much bigger than Johnny Hendricks. It's insane. It's like, he makes Johnny Hendricks look like a 155 pounder. Like, this guy is huge. And I think he's gonna pick up a win by knockout in the second round. I think first round they'll come out, test each other, especially because it's the first fight of the pay-per-view. Second round, Paulo Costa is going to put on that pressure, and Johnny Hendricks, God knows he doesn't love cutting weight. Probably the fatigue will kick in, and he'll get knocked out in the second round. In my eyes, this will be fight of the night. Stephen Thompson versus Masvidal. Oh man, Jorge is a badass. Stephen is an even bigger badass. This is number 2 versus number 4 in the 170-pound division, and it has title ramifications. I mean, if Stephen wins, does he get the title shot? He's already fought the champ twice. If Masvidal wins, I think he makes a strong case for the title shot, especially because people want to see Masvidal get his ass kicked, and if Tyrone can do that, maybe he picks his name up, especially on that St. Louis card. We'll see what happens. I'm so excited about this fight, but look behind you. Jesus Christ, that was fucking creepy. That scared the shit out of me. Okay, here, let me show you what that was. I got this phone for Halloween, and like, I know who you are. It's fucking creepy. It says a lot of random shit. Don't you dare hang up. And so I guess I hadn't like placed it right, and then it slid. That scared the fuck out of me. Besides the point, let's get back talking about this card. Stephen Thompson, who hasn't fought after losing to Tyron Woodley, is looking to get back on winning ways, and Jorge Masvidal is not an easy guy to beat. Yes, Masvidal lost a split decision to Damian Maia in his last fight, but honestly, that was a very close fight. Just like, since then, Damian Maia has dropped 2 fights. This is the first time Masvidal is fighting, and both of these guys are killers, and I have such a hard time picking who's gonna win this one. All I know is somebody's getting knocked out. I don't want to be the guy who picks the favorite, but I know Stephen Thompson is the favorite, and I think Stephen Thompson has too much for Jorge Masvidal, but he's also a killer, you know? So it's like, if Stephen Thompson loses this one, I think he moves up to 185. If Jorge loses, he stays at 170. He's talking about moving down to 155. I mean, for crying out loud. This guy is perfect at 170. I think he stays here even if he loses, although if Stephen loses, he definitely moves up, but I don't see Stephen losing this one. I think Stephen Thompson wins in the third round via knockout, probably one of those insane kicks he's got, but I'm so happy this fight is happening. This is matchmaking at its best, and I love when UFC books fights that are just beautiful and delicious to watch. Let's get into the first championship 5-round fight of the evening. Joanna Jędrzejczyk taking on Rose Namajunas, and a lot of people have been telling me that they think Rose is gonna win this one, and I'm just like, boy, is you crazy or what? Joanna is a killer. Joanna is a bad bitch, you know what I'm saying? So I just don't see Rose. I mean, Rose is a great fighter, don't get me wrong, but like, if you look at her competition compared to who Joanna has fought in her career, it doesn't even come close. Like, not even like, you know? Rose is not nearly as aggressive as you'd like someone to be against Joanna, and Joanna is on the cusp of breaking that record of most title defenses in women's UFC history, and I think she does it. I know she loves to go 5 rounds, but this might be a fight that she doesn't go 5 rounds. I'm predicting a TKO in the 3rd round. Rose has nothing that's gonna threaten Joanna, and I do not see her losing her title anytime soon. She's also talking about moving to 125, getting that two-shoulder champ, you know what I'm talking about? It's definitely gonna be Joanna. 3rd round, knockout. Be on the lookout for it. This is gonna be a great scrap. I love watching Joanna. She's such a technical fighter. She's so great on the ground, in the clinch, striking, all of it. She's fantastic. Watch this fight. If you don't watch anything else, watch this, because it'll be beautiful. Let's get into Cody Garbrandt versus TJ Dillashaw. Is the snake gonna strike? Cody Garbrandt takes on TJ Dillashaw in a revenge match, maybe? In some sort of a snake versus predator match. Cody, who's coming off of a back surgery, and you know, those are always tough. He was definitely gonna fight on this card. When you got GSP coming back, those pay-per-view points, yeah, they're gonna bring a lot of money into that pocket. So there was no way Cody was gonna miss this fight. TJ is a veteran of the sport. I mean, he's been around for way longer than Cody, but Cody is the champ. His last fight, he showed us what he can do against one of the Hall of Famers of the sport in Preux. And I have a hard time picking this fight, but my heart says Cody picks up the win here via knockout. I mean, this guy's just fantastic. I don't know how much his back surgery and that pain will affect him. I have no idea, but what I do know is he has a better home and a better structure than TJ does. TJ bounces around too much, and typically when fighters bounce around, I don't know, it's just not good for you. You gotta have some sort of a solid foundation so you can succeed in the UFC, and TJ's missing that. And I don't want to discredit TJ for anything, but I mean, TJ's a very similar fighter to Dominick Cruz, and we saw what Cody did to Dominick Cruz. I'm having a hard time picking against Cody in this one, but in the back of my mind, like I've said, I know that Cody is coming off of a back surgery, and those are never great, and so if there's any time he's gonna lose, it's this one, but I'm sure he does not want to let that go. And by the way, his camp knows everything about TJ. I mean, they just do. They trained the guy. I know Dwayne Ludwig and like some other trainers he's bounced around with have sort of honed his skills and given him other things to consider. But at your core, when you're a 31-year-old fighter, your skills that you've acquired in your sort of come up are skills that will stick with you. And Cody wins this one. And I know I've been calling knockouts and submissions this entire night, but I'm an optimistic fight fan. Even though I'd like to say this one finishes in a knockout, actually, I think it'll be unanimous decision win for CODY GARBRANDT. I don't see a knockout. I know that boy can punch, don't get me wrong. I know TJ will not knock out Cody. That ain't happening. Cody's chin is made out of granite. Cody's not getting knocked out. I also don't see him getting submitted. I mean, taking him down is gonna be a pain in the ass. Good luck with that. Watch out for those knees. So I think this will be a unanimous decision win for CODY GARBRANDT. Moves on to 12-0 and potentially becomes one of the biggest stars in the UFC. Alright, I know this is what you came here for. I know this is what we're all watching this card for. Mr. George St. Pierre making a return and fighting Michael Bisping at 185 pounds, a division he's never fought at before. Don't know why this guy didn't decide. He could have fought Tyron Woodley. I don't know why he wouldn't fight Tyron Woodley. I think it makes a lot more sense for him to fight Tyron Woodley, but hey, whatever. I love Bisping, I love GSP, and I can't decide who I love more. Bisping, who's the winningest fighter in UFC history, GSP, who's a legend. Some people put him on their Mount Rushmore of all-time greats, and I wouldn't blame you. What this guy did at 170 has been unmatched. That is a division of killers, still is, always has been, always will be, because it's like the prime weight for a fighter. I listened to Chael Sonnen talk about how, you know, size and strength and all of those things don't really matter, but in reality, you need strength to take Bisping down, and taking Bisping down is not an easy feat. If you ask anyone who's ever fought him, especially who's wanted to take him down, they'll tell you, yeah, good luck with that, because this guy doesn't get taken down very easily, and when he does get taken down, he doesn't stay down. That guy pops right up. He's got the power, and he knows how to use his reach, and I'm a huge fan of Bisping. I think when he's the underdog, when he's the perceived underdog, and everybody's like, yeah, this guy's not gonna win this one, he performs at his best. I'm just lost for words. I don't know who I should pick for this fight, because I can see GSP winning. This is how I see the fight going. If the fight was to end early, I think it's a Bisping win. If the fight goes the distance, I think it's a GSP win. Now, I've sort of am stuck in this dilemma. Does it end early, or does it go the distance? This is so hard. I don't know. Main events are always so hard to pick because, I mean, it's a coin flip, you know? It's never easy. That's why they make these fucking matchups. This entire time, I was leaning towards a Bisping win, but something lately, maybe it's because I've been watching the embeddeds, but something has made me feel like GSP might actually win this fight. I don't know how this happens, but hey, I'm gonna pick GSP in a 5-round split decision win. Maybe unanimous. I don't know. What am I saying? Yeah, GSP win. I don't know how he gets it done. Fuck it. I'm going GSP. I'm sorry, Michael, if you're watching this. Look, Mike, I'm a big fan. I really am, Bisping. I don't know, man. Like, you know, sometimes this happens. I'm sorry, Mike. If you win, I will. If you win, I'll come to London. Well, you don't live in London anymore. You don't live in England. I mean, you're from Manchester. I guess I'm from LA and you live in Anaheim. So if you win, I'll come to Anaheim and I'll do some sort of a forfeit. You're never gonna see this video, so it doesn't really matter. But just want you to know that I am a big fan. I'm sorry I'm picking against you, alright? I'm sorry. But he loves saying that shit. Anyhow, fight fans, thank you so much for coming back and watching this video. Let me know if you're watching UFC 217. I will be for sure. What's the fight you're looking forward to most? Who do you think is going to win the 3 title fights? Joanna or Rose, Cody, Dillashaw, GSP, Bisping? Let me know below and I'll see you next time. Oh, and don't forget to leave this video a like and don't forget to comment below and also don't forget to subscribe because God knows that helps a lot.